Hard fought. Damari Carroll. The opposite of how everyone felt a night ago. Big Al Jefferson. And we're alive. It's all next. On tip off. Boom, boom, boom. I'm too tired to come up with something. Boom, boom, boom. Totally fried. Boom, boom, boom. This is the only time I'm using my voice all day. Boom, 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 boom. Wow. That was nuts. Three overtime. Do you guys realize this season is just completely the amount of tip in foul? I mean, that game last night, to some extent, was the perfect, appropriate capsule of our entire season. And maybe appropriately out of it, we're still alive. I mean, if you think about this season is about. If I look at the Jazz season this year and you ask me what it's about 1 through 12 contribution. It's about close games seemingly every night. Specifically, it's about tip-ins that were and weren't, free throws that were and weren't. It's about, quite honestly, it's about late 5 minutes going up against teams that have something that we don't have and them beating us a lot of the time. This season is about fight and effort. I think this season, if everyone was really honest, is, at least in my opinion, I'll just speak for myself, has been, mammothly more entertaining than I had ever anticipated. I thought it was going to be a real test. It's been fabulous. The quality of entertainment, the night in and night out effort, it's really incredible. By the way, speaking of that, we have 3 home games. Saturday, Orlando. I think it's still 8:30. Phoenix 7 o'clock on Tuesday. Thursday 6 o'clock against Portland. So get out there. Season tickets for next year are available also. This is a great, fun team. Probably a little different, but it's the core of what this franchise exists. But if you really think about by the way, those operators are at 325-2999. That's what this season has been. And last night was all of that. And then I think the added element that this season is becoming is the idea of guys who've never done it, other than Devin, really, leading their team to a playoff berth. We'll see if we can get it done. But yesterday I wondered whether Al Jefferson wanted this so badly that it was bothering him. He was 4 of his last 20 in the fourth quarter going into last night. He just didn't seem the same guy. Last night is probably the best basketball I have ever seen Al Jefferson play. His rebounding, defensive rebounding, where he had 3 the other night, by the way. He had 3 in New Orleans. He had none in the second half in New Orleans. Was insane. He had 21 defensive rebounds. There were only 46 defensive rebounds in the entire game available for the Jazz. They got almost all of them. I think they got 39. He wasn't on the floor the whole time. Most of it, but not all of it. Incredible. Defensively on the pick and roll last night, he was really very good. Very good. Their point guards aren't as special as some others, but he got split once, but other than that, not much. And then what he did offensively was just awesome. But that's part of this season. Big Al Jefferson, who's never carried his team to a playoff. He played the first year in Boston. With on his final lifeline, making the plays, playing the way he did last night, being carried through it. Unreal. The story of the season. Commitment or contributions 1 through 12, 13. Damari Carroll? Damari Carroll, He wasn't on the opening day roster. And here in the biggest game of the year, he's making some of the biggest plays with Jamal Tinsley on the floor with him. Come on. A little credit to Kevin O'Connor. Sorry, we are on every herbal. I spend more money on cockamamie, herbal, throat shield coat, this, anti-immune this, whatever, garbage. I don't know if any of it works, but I'm not. I know I'm regularly certain that Western medicine doesn't always. So I'll just try all the crazy Eastern, Asian things along the way. Uh, Damari Carroll last night, the rebound to win it, hit some jump shots, played with amazing energy. Great substitution at one point by Tyrone Corbin, where he brings Carroll into guard Vince Carter, who was giving Alec Burks the business. I mean, it was just amazing. Missing opportunities, frankly. I mean, we gave that game back a few times last night. First overtime, we had it 196, back-to-back free throws. Game was over. We missed them both. The Millsap missed one or two. You know, you can't make every free throw. You're supposed to make 3 out of 4, so you probably only have the right to ask for 2 of them. But had we got 2 of them, we would have been in pretty good shape. It was really an unbelievable night last night that I think, as I'm saying, capsulized the entire season. And maybe the coolest thing to that was when we left Memphis, and I wrote this on Empty the Noggin, a super quiet plane flight. And every single one of those guys had a minute in that game where they had to think to themselves, wow, if I'd done this, we could have won. Or if I had done this better, we could have won. 2 nights later, against the world champs in an equally hard-fought game, plus some. I mean, Rick Carlisle said it well last night. Phenomenal game. The competition was great. And it was. It was great last night. The only thing that sucked last night was the officiating. Holy smokes, they were awful. Both ways. We didn't get screwed in any way. In fact, we may have gotten a gift at time. I mean, some of the big calls late went our way. But those guys, that's the worst officiated game all year by a mile. But nonetheless, a night before we leave Memphis, and every guy's thinking about a moment that didn't go their way. Last night, every single guy, Jamal Tinsley, big 3. Gordon Hayward, big 3. Devin Harris, numerous plays. Al Jefferson the whole night. Paul Millsap, jam follow. 2 plays that amazed me last night. How did Paul Millsap get that high with that much energy, having guarded Dirk for 40 minutes at that point? And Al Jefferson rose up on the block shot of Jan Mahimi in, I think, his 50th minute of work last night. Insane. You go through every guy in that roster last night. Damari Carroll's rebound at the end of the game. They have a moment where they can talk about winning that game. Alec Burks made plays despite going 0 for 6. Sorry. Cantor. They all did. They all have a moment last night. Blake Ahern 3. It's awesome. That's as big a deal as anything last night. Some minor things in the last night's game. They played from ahead most of the night, which I was on with Spence and Scotty, and they asked kind of for my whiteboard X's and O's, and I didn't give much of a good whiteboard X's and O's. I think I disappointed them. I just said you got to play from ahead, which they really did. They got in the penalty deep early in the first half in the second quarter. Did not, again, in the third or fourth till deep, and kept the Mavericks off the free throw line. The defense was really good most of the night. Um, Rick Carlisle last night. First of all, I've always loved the way he uses timeouts. His work last night off the whiteboard, I mean, it was whiteboard magic out of timeouts last night. I would love to go look at the play by play and see what Rick Carlisle did out of timeouts last night. It has to be one of the best works by a coach and a team. And that's what happens when you got 4 or 5 guys on the floor that are all 12, 13, 14-year-old veterans. What a phenomenal game. What a great win. The arena rocked. Really fabulous. I'm sure there's other stuff I am forgetting that I need to mention. Paul Millsap was just mammoth. This is kind of just me sitting here stream of conscious. These are usually somewhat organized. Now we are out of organization. And I will not lie to you. I am completely exhausted. Last night, I couldn't go to sleep and I couldn't stay awake. I mean, I was just fried. Yes, what are we talking about? There's, Millsap, baseline jumper left side, jam follow, defense on Nowitzki. I mean, he got killed, but he battled all night. I mean, he battled. And just that in itself, like that we fought, that he kept fighting the whole game. I mean, Ron Boone must have said in the broadcast 23 times, you can't be soft in this game. And last night the Jazz had every opportunity to be soft and will. And frankly, the Mavericks did too. I leave last night thinking the Mavericks are a legitimate title contender. The way they fought on the fourth game in 5 nights through 3 overtimes and the plays that they're able to make. They're pretty good. They're pretty darn good late in games defensively. Boy, they played that zone. That was so smart last night because that kept the Jazz. That's the other part. Wow, this is really a stream of conscious. I apologize, guys. If this bugs you, sorry. The other thing last night is impressively the Mavericks came with a great game plan. They're fabulously coached. I really think Carlisle's as good as they come. And I'm biased. I know him quite well, but I still think he's as good as they come. Total. Woo! Tired. He got the Jazz to play the game he wanted. He got in his zone. He forced us into a three-point shooting team. He forced Damari Carroll to take shots. He forced Devin Harris to take 12 threes. He kept the ball out of Al for some of the night. He had Millsap at 1 for 9 or something at the point, and yet we still won. That might be the biggest and most important point of all, is that they got us to play the game they wanted, and the Jazz still found a way to win. All right, I am clearly wasted tired. I am going to go work out, rest. We are heading on some team outings in Portland for our final night. I think they're hosting a nice team dinner. And then get back at it tomorrow. Knock down. 4 to go, baby. 4 to go to make the playoffs. Thank you all.